Hello, my name is McDaid. I'm a third-year film student at Ulster University, McDaid. I've always been fascinated by history and how it permeates through even the present day. I've set out to explore the genetic legacy of the famine in Ireland. Welcome to the story of the lost secret. The idea for this documentary came about because of my grandmother. My grandmother Sadie, who passed away in 2013, had a condition called hemochromatosis. What hemochromatosis does, it absorbs excess iron from your food and then deposits it in places that it shouldn't. For example, your heart, your lungs and other organs could be severely affected. It's a lifelong condition. The only treatment is to have some of your blood removed every month to every 6 months around about, in order to bring your iron levels back down to a safe level. I was having some health problems a while back, and the possibility was raised that I could also have this condition, as it's hereditary. When researching hemochromatosis for my own benefit, I came across an interesting fact. Famine actually caused the faulty gene that leads to hemochromatosis. I was shocked. I had never before considered the possibility of famine having a genetic or medical effect. Ireland, with a large famine in its recent history, seemed particularly vulnerable. In order to get an idea of the scale of the Irish famine, I decided to pay a visit to EPIC, the Irish Immigration Museum in the heart of Dublin's Docklands, to visit their historian-in-chief, Dr. Angela Byrne. So what caused the famine?
So there are lots of different things that caused the famine to be the catastrophe that it was. So in the first instance, of course, there's the blight that comes on the potatoes. There's that kind of biological reason, and that's kind of inescapable in the era before kind of modern pesticides and all the rest of it. But then what caused it really to be the catastrophe on the scale that it was really mismanagement by the authorities. So while there's an awful lot of philanthropic work going on by individual landlords and different charitable organisations, it's really mismanagement at state level that means it endures for as long as it does and impacts on as many people as it does.
Which areas were affected most heavily during the famine?
So every part of the island was affected. There was no area that escaped, but some areas were worst hit than others. And when you look at a map that shows rates of emigration and death rates that exceed the kind of natural death rate that I referred to earlier, the worst hit area is along the western seaboard from Sligo down to Cork. And part of the reason for that is that that region is so economically underdeveloped that there are fewer urban centres where people can go and access workhouse support, for example, or a soup kitchen, or the urban centres that people radiate towards to try and survive in periods of hunger and deprivation were more difficult for these people to reach. And secondly, these people were already more likely to be living a kind of a subsistence lifestyle. They were more likely to be dependent on crops that they grew themselves, which were more likely to be potatoes. So they kind of had two factors working against them.
Upon further investigation, I came across Dr. Una Walsh's work. She's a historian who believes that epigenetic change came about because of severe nutritional deprivation during the Irish famine. This ranges from mental illnesses to cardiovascular and other diseases. Epigenetics is the study of gene expression. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's a change to the genetic code itself, but that the effects could last for several generations. In Walsh's work, she discusses the possibility of mental illness being affected in Ireland by famine. Whenever you compare two different census results, the results seem quite startling. In 1841, there's just about 1,600 people in district asylums in Ireland. Whenever you compare that to after the famine in 1900, the next census, there's just about 17,000 people in district asylums. Now, genetics is a complicated science, But to put it into perspective, this here is just about 6.4 kilos of potatoes, what an average male labourer would have eaten every day before the start of the Irish famine. Whenever you compare it to this, you can imagine just how much strain it would put the human body under. Irish identity comes in many shapes and forms, but this research has the potential to impact not only the Irish population here in Ireland, but also the wider global Irish population. Time will only tell if the lost secret of the famine will ever truly be uncovered.